Okay, so YouTube's dropped another bombshell. You may or may not have had this email yet. So in the UK, I've had the email. You may have seen it. Upcoming tax changes to your YouTube earnings. So if you're already getting AdSense from YouTube, this will apply to you. If you're not, you don't need to worry about it yet, but it will be something that will be a big chunk of your money basically coming out of your account. So let me briefly explain what they're saying here. I'm not a legal expert or a tax specialist, so I'm basically giving you my opinion on this. You may want to get your own individual advice. What I'm going to do today is give you an example with the monetary value. So actually use an example of AdSense earning and say how much of the pie is going to who and how much will you actually be left with after this gets incorporated. So we're reaching out because Google will be required to deduct US taxes from payments to creators outside the US. So this means anybody outside the United States will need to pay tax at the US rate, which is what I'm reading from that. At any point, if I'm misreading this or I've not read it properly, let me know in the comments and correct me. So, okay, as early as June 2021, so that's not far at all. We're in March at the moment, so you got 3 months or so. Over the next few weeks, we'll be asking you to submit your tax info in AdSense to determine the correct amount of taxes to deduct. So this is giving us a bit of leeway here. What they're saying is, if you're outside the UK, they're going to give you some boxes to fill out in AdSense, which actually might take into account your current tax arrangements and how much you're paying. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know about that yet, because they may end up saying, actually, you know what, you need to pay tax at our US rate, but then in the UK, we do a self-assessment each year where we pay tax on anyway. So does that mean we're paying tax twice? We'll find out. Okay, so if your tax info isn't provided by 31st of May 2021, that is a deadline, Google may be required to deduct up to 24% of your total earnings worldwide. So that means if you don't fill it out in time for the deadline, they're going to take a standard amount of 24%, which is the highest amount. So there's a bit of information here. They also give you a link to a website, which I'm going to put in the description of this video to help you out. So submitting your US tax information to Google, it gives you some information headers here, how you submit it, payments, manage settings, into your AdSense account, and then you can go in. There's a few more information bits here. So I think I'm quite early on this. So in the UK, it's probably 6 in the morning. So I'm recording this and sending it straight out. So if you've seen the email, hopefully you see what I'm talking about here and it helps you. But let's get to the nitty gritty. I've got a pie here. So let's say you've had that email. What does it mean for you in a monetary value? So if I get 100% of the AdSense money, it's £100 in this example. But say, obviously, out of that will be some money. So let's get rid of that there. There's the pie. The first section, we already know a chunk of that goes to YouTube anyway. So before you get your money, 40% of it goes to YouTube. Because of that slight, if you have 60%, it's a bit more than half. So you actually have the owner or the in companies they do that a lot. So £40 already goes to YouTube, which is fine, because obviously YouTube has provided the platform for us to share our content and hosting our videos, all that. That's perfectly fine. Where it gets tricky now is the next section of the pie is that bit there. So if I'm paying by default 24%, I'm just taking the assumption that you haven't filled it out and you don't know what's going on, and they're going to take 24% from you. Out of that remaining amount, which is about £60 I'm using in the UK, 24% of £60 is about £14.40 odd pence. So they're going to take that tax from you. Now, are they going to take the tax from the remaining £60, or are they going to take the tax before they take their cut out? Because there's a bit of compounded interest business there. It's similar to how eBay used to be, where there used to be the PayPal fee and you used to end up paying twice, where eBay charged you on the full amount, including the fee, then the separate, if that makes sense, if you're familiar with eBay. But anyway, this scenario, we're using the example that amount, the £60 remaining, I've wrote little notes down here. So out of the £100, £40 goes to YouTube, £14.40 odd pence goes to US tax if you're outside the US. Then what's left over? Remember, we're in the UK, we do a self-assessment, so our home UK tax is about £11, £10 on the remaining amount. Because if they're going to take the US tax before they pay us, they're going to essentially pay us £40, 14.44 minus from our original amount. So we're probably going to get, let me get a calculator up here so I'll give you the exact calculation. So let's do 100, take away 40 for YouTube, take away £14.44, and then that's going to leave us with, take away 40, take away 14.4, £45.60 we're going to be left with. However, in our home country, we also pay tax, if that's the right way I'm understanding it. So that means if I take my home tax out, which is about, on the remaining amount of £45, 22% is about 10-ish, 11-ish pounds. I'm giving you rough examples here, so don't annihilate me if I'm not exactly to the penny. Take away £10 from that, so we're left with £35.06. So that remaining pie here, let's make a new layer so I can draw onto this. This bit here is our YouTube earning. That bit there, the pie. So we're left with £30. So that's a visual example of what they're talking about. Yeah, that's a bit of a worry, isn't it? So now I've asked the question on Reddit, and it seems like there's a few people coming back with answers there. So I'll provide you an updated video about more information about this. But at the moment, it doesn't look good, because if you think about it, the total amount, you're basically paying your tax to the US, and I'm assuming you will have to pay the US separately to the UK, because obviously tax goes to the governments. So how will that work? Let me know in the comments if you've had the email. What do you think of it? Is it the right thing to do? And here's another video explaining more about this.